Welcome back to episode 9 of the Becoming More podcast. I'm your host, Brett Yo, otherwise known as Becoming Brett on all social media. And I'm here today with my doppelganger, Anthony Changes. What's
What
up,
up?
Anthony?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
I'm well. How are you?
Doing all right. I'm still kind of baffled at how much we look alike, bro. It's kind of weird.
If I wore my headband, maybe even more.
One of our dads has some explaining to do for sure. I'm not sure which one.
All right, Anthony, what I like to ask everybody to start the show is kind of like an elevator pitch or like a bottom line of where you are on your weight loss journey so far.
Right on. So I'm 68 pounds down. My highest weight was like 326. That's recorded. I don't know exactly for sure how big I got, but that was probably as close as it was. And I've struggled with diet and exercise like majority of people in our community, but the biggest success I've seen has been with HIIT training, the high intensity interval training at the gym that I go to. And that's pretty much it, man. I've bust my ass there and keep going. That's the plan.
Great. Yeah. I've been doing HIIT at my gym with my trainer. Usually when I do it with her, I get my ass kicked more than if I do it myself.
That's how it works.
Yeah. Like I leave and I'm like, my headband's soaked and I'm like, this is gross.
Yeah. Squeeze sweat out in the back. It's like, that's fucking disgusting.
Yeah. That's good. F word in like the first, minute of the show.
I'm not sure. You probably should have warned the people like that was going to happen. It might be more.
So you mentioned you got up to 326. A little background, like were you like a big kid? Were you like athletic? Did you like gain it in high school or college age? I don't know if you went to college, honestly, but I mean, everybody's different. So, but because like everybody has a different way they got to that like heaviest point. So I was just curious what yours was.
I was always a big kid. First of all, I don't appreciate that subtle jab. If you went to college, yes, I went to college, but no, I started off as a big kid, and I think it was back in like 4th or 5th grade that I had reached like 150 pounds, and then it just kind of never went away. In high school, I got down to about 250 pounds from probably around 280, but yeah, it's always been an up and down. Like I never gotten lower than 255. So it was always big. But I think the worst part, what contributed to it most was not being active, being more of a creative soul. So I'd rather stay inside and draw and paint than go play basketball, football, baseball, soccer. Sweat? No, that's I miss me with that. I wasn't with that.
It's glistening. It's not sweat.
Yeah. Call it what you want. I don't want it. Like
and I'm sure when you were staying inside, you were getting plenty of other things, like snacks and whatnot. Yeah, because I mean, I was similar. So I wasn't. I wouldn't say I was creative because I can't draw a stick figure, but I would like. I did a lot of like because we're about the same. We're near the same age, so like computers were like kind of like in the infancy and being in everybody's home. So like I was like big into like early gaming on computers. Early like internet, like nobody was on the internet like it is now. And also like I did web design when I was in high school. I got paid for it, like which was nice, but I did simple web pages that I could easily edit. I did the same. I took like a frame, like I basically did like a frame, and I just like made the same version for multiple people's websites.
Efficiency at its finest, bro.
Yeah, I just changed colors and changed images and logos and stuff like that. I mean, I didn't make the logos. I just got the logos. But yeah, so I feel like so many of us, like we wind up getting to that point where we just keep, you eat and eat, even though like a lot of times I didn't even realize I was doing it because it's just like a habit, like anything else that we all had to break. So you got up to 326, you said, right? Yeah. And when you got up to that, like, was there a point that you reached that you realized you needed to change and lose the weight? Was there like an event or like, cause like for me, it was like a hospitalization. So I was just curious, was there some kind of event that led to that or like an intervention or just seeing other people lose weight?
I know when I was 326, it was 2011. And I remember going to a party with a group of coworkers and taking photos with people and then seeing the photos being posted. I'm like, what are you doing? Why would you post that? Like, and like that was the largest I had ever been, and I didn't like it. But that necessarily wasn't the catalyst for me to change. That didn't come until 2019 when I had my surgery to have part of my large intestine removed because I got a condition called diverticulosis, which is the presence of pockets in the large intestine, the lining of it, and eating things that don't get digested, think corn, peanuts, things of that nature, get trapped in these pockets, and it causes inflammation. And this is a condition that most people on a Western diet will experience, but not until they reach their 70s, 80s, the later stages in life. So for me to get this originally back in 2012, that was kind of an eye-opening moment. Like, I got to do something. But even back in 2012, when I was diagnosed, I didn't have insurance, and I was in the restaurant industry, so it was constant, drinking, smoking, partying all night, every night, staying out till 4:00 in the morning, and your diet is basically shit. You party all night, and then you wake up the next day, and the first thing you do is smoke a cigarette and drink a Red Bull, go right back to work. It was a terrible life. But yeah, so I ended up having the surgery in 2019, and even still, like, I had lost. My surgeon told me I needed to lose 50 pounds in order to get the surgery. I did that. I lost about 35, almost 40. And he was like, that's fine, I'll do it. And then it wasn't until like 7 months after my surgery, I gained all the weight right back. And this was towards the end of 2019. And I was like, I got to do something, man. Like, this isn't working. Like, clearly it's my diet. I don't have a problem working out and doing all that fun stuff. It's not eating right and not eating as much as I have been eating. So it was 2019, actually 2020, the start of 2020 is when I got into the gym that I'm at now. And even 2020 was a roller coaster because it's like I hit the ground running in 2020, and then COVID hit in like March and shut everything down for a couple months. And then once things started to open back up, I started going again, but my diet didn't stay consistent. So I was working my ass off to lose weight, but wasn't losing weight. I was like, I'm going to the gym. I'm paying this however many, dollars a month that I'm paying and not losing weight. This is backwards as shit. Like, this is not how this is supposed to go. I could do this for free.
Yeah. You can't outwork a shit diet.
Facts.
I mean, like, that's just, that's a quote from Stone Cold Steve Austin from his podcast. But yeah, so 2020, which was a cluster for everybody. Right. But I mean, I know. But so you get started, so when you get started with nutrition, right? Because you knew that's what you needed to fix. Like, how did you start? Did you like follow any kind of like a diet like plan, or did you just kind of just go low carb?
The diet aspect, I guess I'll go back to 2019 because that's kind of where I really started to get serious about the diet. In order to have the surgery, I needed to lose 50 pounds, and I started making small changes. So like, instead of having cream and sugar in my Dunkin' Donuts, let's go with almond milk and then no sugar. And then, eventually getting to the point where it's like, I stopped using almond milk altogether and I'm starting to drink my iced coffee black. What kind of monster am I? I'm not entirely sure.
I mean, you drink coffee, so.
Right. Something's definitely wrong with me. But then, other changes like, if I'm going to have pizza and wings, now, like, I'll pick one or the other. You know what I mean? It's like, so it's like, smaller changes, little by little. If I'm going to have fried chicken, get it with a salad instead of the French fries on top of that, so it's like little by little starting to make changes. Yeah. And then when 2020 hit, all that went out the window, and I was like, if I'm working out, I can afford to go back to McDonald's. I already had the surgery, so I can afford to eat the sesame seeds again. And I couldn't outrun that, couldn't outtrain that. And then it wasn't until October of 2020 when I started on Noom. And that was eye-opening for me because as a psychology major, because I did go to college, Brett, I got to see that Noom started putting names on behaviors and identifying the mistakes that I was making, and kind of like taking the shame and the fear away from admitting these mistakes. So that I kind of really fell in love with that. And it was a lot of not calorie counting, but logging your food to see, I guess it was calorie counting. They give you a certain amount of calories to follow, for the day, and you track all your food and you weigh yourself every single day. Now that was probably the sketchy part for me. Is like I don't want to weigh myself every day, but essentially the thought process behind that is to alleviate the fear associated with seeing this number, you know. So
yeah,
Noom was the biggest success that I've had.
Awesome. So for me, just because you mentioned pizza and wings, it's one of my favorite when I'm doing a carb heavy meal. I switched to doing thin crust pizza so I could get more so I could still have a good amount of pizza and not have to worry about hitting my carb limit for the day.
Smart man.
And then I don't know about you, but I used to pound like 50 wings in this like easy. And now I do 10 and that's like my limit. But of course I found this great wing place that I didn't know existed near me. And like after I started doing this, back when I would pound them, I'd get the crappy wings that were nearby and not the ones that were like 30 minutes away that are amazing.
So much more worth it.
Yeah. So as far as Noom goes, so you've been doing that since, are you still doing that now?
I stopped doing Noom in early January of this year.
Okay.
Because at the gym we started counting macros, and that's currently what I'm working on now, and I love it. I absolutely love counting my macros. I still struggle to hit some of these numbers, you know, like I don't go over, which is good, but like I'm struggling to hit, you know, 300 however many grams of protein I'm trying to get. It's like, how do I get that without going over my fats or my carbs? And it's a puzzle piece that I'm still trying to put together, but like that's part of the fun for me.
Awesome. So you mentioned the gym and doing the high intensity interval training. Are there certain, because people don't really know what it is, are there certain workouts you do with that you like the best?
We don't repeat workouts ever, and that's amazing if you ask me, because my coaches, they put together tremendous routines, and I can't say I like one more than the other, but what I will say is that like certain days, every day has a theme that you can always expect. Like Tuesdays is always Tabata, which is like 20 seconds on, 10 seconds off for 6 rounds, sometimes 8. So those styled workouts are my favorite. And everybody shits on leg day, but I thoroughly enjoy leg day. You know, it's obviously the strongest muscle group that I have because I've carried around a lot of weight for a long time. But I also get my like most wicked calorie burns on leg day.
Yeah, I do too. And I also like leg day because it's the when I do some of the machine workouts compared to just doing the hit, like I can do the most weight on them because you know I do the leg press and it's like I don't know, like in the high 3s now.
Right.
And I'm like, yeah, that's a lot better than my arms.
25.
Come on, 25.
I mean, come on, bro. You tried my college education, so I had to.
I know. What college you go to?
Lynn University. Hey, you didn't think I was ready for that question? Come on, man. I graduated from FAU with my bachelor's in psychology and business administration, and then went back and got my master's in industrial organizational psychology, which is a mouthful for human resource psychology.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I also have I went to Penn State. You guys like 10 years ago, like this past weekend, which is strange.
Congratulations.
Thanks. And then I have my master's.
Were you there with Coach Sandusky? That's probably too much. Too much. My bad.
No, I was not there with Coach Sandusky. Thank you. I mean, I'm used to that joke, so it's not a big deal.
It's not often.
Funny thing is, here in Baltimore, they actually have, so the guy that does the Ravens, like he's like the Ravens traveling reporter for one of the news station. His name is actually the same. It's Jerry Sandusky, but he spells it different. The Jerry part different, but the last name's the same. And I was like, man, that's rough. You're in football. And just makes me laugh. So I know, since we've been talking about your gym, I know that you do a podcast with your gym.
I do.
So I wanted to give you a chance to talk about that a little bit.
Thank you.
Plug it before we get to the end of the show. Everybody turns it off, right?
Right. Yeah. So we do the lifestyle podcast at the gym, and it's a health and fitness podcast. But the interesting thing about it, at least in my eyes, is that you have someone who's been physically fit the majority of their life, and their perspective, and my perspective is someone who's kind of just now starting to take their fitness journey seriously. So you get to see two different perspectives on a lot of different topics, from toxic diet culture to preparing for strenuous exercises and workouts like Murph coming up on Memorial Day. So it's an interesting take. We have a really great dynamic, so we talk trash the whole time and we laugh and giggle, and we also share like really deep personal stories on our journeys up until this point.
Awesome. And and one more time, what's the name of it?
Lifestyle Podcast, but life is spelled with a Y, LYFESTYLE. Almost fuck that up.
Awesome. Go find it. I know it's everywhere, right?
For the most part, yeah.
So Google, put that in your Google machine and find it, and take and subscribe and listen and like and all that stuff that we all want on all our podcasts.
Yeah.
So
make sure does that work? It's backwards. Never mind. And it's blurry.
It wasn't backwards, but it didn't come up. The camera didn't focus right on it.
I tried.
Yeah, you tried. It's all right. So one of the things I like to ask everybody about is the side effects of weight loss, and it's not just, I say side effects, but it's good and bad. So some people like have physical side effects, like they lose height, they lose shoe size, and then there's like the non-physical, which is losing like friends and family that you're close to because like you change your life drastically and they don't support you, or you kind of drift apart. Like it's not even something that you intentionally happens. Just like you don't go out to eat and go clubbing and go to the bars all the time, right? And then there's also like gaining friends, gaining confidence, anything else that you can think of. Just curious, like what are some of those for you?
The last two that you mentioned, like friends, I haven't lost friends, but I have noticed that my social circle has changed, and I think that's in part due to COVID and me not being in the restaurant industry anymore. Thankfully, I was able to get out before COVID shut everything down, and being at the gym and really having nothing else to do but create content and go to this gym. So my social circle changed, and now instead of staying up till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, I'm now getting up at 5 or 6 in the morning, going running, speed jogging, barely speed walking.
Speed walking.
Yeah, pretty much. And, so it's like I'm doing different things. So now I'm not as close to some of the friends that I had a couple of years ago. There's no love lost, but like, recently I had a friend of mine reach out to me like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. Let me know when you want to get together and go for a couple of drinks. And I'm like, it's been a while since I've had any drinks. Not that I'm afraid of my willpower, but I don't know. It's like, I don't necessarily associate with that lifestyle anymore. And, I don't want to jeopardize what I've got going on and potentially backslide,
Mm-hmm.
And then the second thing you said, or the third one, I forgot what it was.
Confidence.
Oh, yeah. So confidence. Yeah. So changing my social circle and gaining confidence, now I'm hanging out with people that have pushed me to see me succeed. And now I'm doing things like taking off my shirt in public or jumping into a swimming pool and being able to enjoy myself with no pressure on me to, look a certain way or, feel like I'm not in good enough shape to enjoy these activities. So changing my social circle and working out with people that have similar goals has helped me in more ways than one.
Yeah. And I mean, so often when you go to take your shirt off at the pool, you're always like this, right?
Yep. Always facts. Like, oh, you cold? No, I'm just hiding these big old man boobs that are big pepperoni nipples and I'm trying to not expose.
Yeah. I had that. So funny, just kind of funny. Last summer, during COVID and the shutdown here, because the gyms opened, I want to say it was around like this time of last year, and my gym opened, and I had joined like a month before, or I joined right after New Year's because I wanted to get the New Year's discount.
Right.
And so then they shut down in like March, didn't go open until the end of May. And when they reopened, I was like, I'm not really feeling going and using the equipment because I don't want to get COVID. Right. But they opened their pool, and like the pool thing was interesting because like the locker rooms were closed because of COVID. So like you would walk in like the entrance, it was like emergency exit for the pool. You come in through there, you'd have like a reservation for a lane for like 45 minutes. and then you'd leave. Like you didn't get to change. Some people would change in the bathroom because there was a bathroom that you could use that wasn't a locker room. But I was just like, I don't care. I'll just go home. And I started doing that, and like just the everyday, like going and getting more comfortable with that. And like I was there, and I just was like, I just don't have my shirt because I didn't care. Like I was like, whatever. Like there's nobody here. And then as like the summer progressed and more people came back, like see more people, and I'm like, I don't care. It was that confidence that just is like you gain just from. It's also like as you get older too, like you just don't give a fuck.
Right. Yeah. It's exposure to that, that stimuli. I mean, that stimulus is like, I'm afraid to take my shirt off, but the more I do it, the less and less I'm afraid of it. So, I totally understand that. I'm thankful that like it's the same group of people. You know what I mean? So like while my gym has different classes and there's still people that I haven't met yet, it's a group setting. So it's not like, a regular big box gym where you just walk in, you do your workout and you leave. Like this is people that, we're all doing the same class. We're all sweating it out. We're all like sucking it up and cursing. So it made it a lot easier to go to these social events with these same people and feel comfortable enough to like take my shirt off. And I actually got comfortable with taking my shirt off this year when I created the whole Gut Muscle CEO account. And I felt like it would be easier for me to share my weight loss journey with strangers or with people that can relate to it, as opposed to sharing it on my main Instagram account. You know what I mean? It's like, while my friends and family would support me, they wouldn't be able to understand the significance of a lot of my non-scale victories. While like wearing a belt buckle may seem like something small to celebrate with my friends and family, this community would be like, I totally understand why this is a big deal. For me.
Oh yeah. I did the same thing when I first started my Becoming a Rep page, because I had a personal Instagram, right? Had being the operative word now, because I kind of just don't use it anymore. I haven't used it in like almost a year, because last summer when the pandemic was happening, I just started like going all in on my, because I was like, I might as well just post every day. I walk like 10,000 steps, and then it was like 191 straight days, and I'm like, all right, because I look now, I have like 600 posts, and I'm like, I don't even know where that came from.
Two a day.
Yeah, 2 a day. I had like some days where I posted 3 things. But yeah, because you're comfortable around strangers because they can, like you said, they understand. And if they don't, it ain't like them.
Right.
Like if like so many of us, I know other people too, you don't post on Facebook right away because you don't want people in your real life to know, or to then like be like, oh, failed again.
Right.
Because I'm sure you had a time where you told people in your real life that, oh, I'm doing this diet, I'm gonna like, lose the weight and get in shape and all that, and then it doesn't happen, and then you're back to like, then you have to face them at some point.
You're like, please don't ask me. Please don't ask me.
Yeah. and that's always killer. Because like I didn't even share mine until it was about a year ago when I hit 150 down. And now I'm almost at 250. But even hitting 150, I still was like, should I share this? Should I? Do I really want to? Yeah. And now some of my friends, like legit friends, had found me on Instagram because the algo, it sends people your way.
Yeah. You know him, I promise. You know him.
Yeah. Yeah. And then but then like so many, like they didn't have any idea. And like occasionally now I'll like share some posts on my Facebook from my Becoming Rep page, and I'll get like the people from high school that are like, oh my God. And I'm like, yeah, I didn't talk to you in high school either. So
right. I'd appreciate it if you saw yourself out. Like that'd be great.
Well, maybe just give me a like first. And then you can go. But yeah, because like like for, I don't know if it was, I don't know, you probably were, maybe you can relate, like you had like, because they're like the funny fat kids, and then there were like the not funny fat kids. So I was in the not funny fat kids section.
What? I don't believe that.
Yeah. So I was I was always very introverted.
Like I don't get that from you. I mean,
yeah,
maybe
I know, because I've changed a lot in my adult, like college and adult life, because I didn't finish college till I was like 27.
Damn,
so
too. That's
oh really?
That's so weird.
Yeah. Well, yeah, there you go. Doppelganger.
Yeah.
But yeah. So like so when as I was doing that, I got more confident, and then having a big boy job. It's not. I used to manage a movie theater. It wasn't a big boy job, but it was easy and it was fun.
Right.
And like that was I was interfacing with the public a lot, right? So I had to have more of an extroversion compared to like in high school, and I didn't want anybody to judge me. I didn't want so I just didn't talk to people. It's a lot different almost 20 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of like that's two edges of the same sword in a certain degree, because like your introversion and aversion to people in the public in general is kind of like a self-defense mechanism, very much so. Like my extroversion and getting people to laugh is also a self-defense mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
Like if I can be the center of attention and keep you distracted from what I'm insecure about, I feel protected.
And of course now I am the center of attention, because then if I bring up like, oh, I've lost like 250 pounds, and then they're like, what? It's always a good one. And also like just I've gotten better at being, because I think I'm funny. My wife might disagree. But I really I'm better at like being that way now than I was then. I mean, it's also an awkward high school and growing up. Like everybody's different. Everybody has different backgrounds. And I went to Catholic high school where there were two Catholic high schools in my town, in my area, and like one, like they literally cut the city in half, and one half goes to the one and one half goes to the other. And like my school is right near the line of this. So like a lot of my friends that I was friends with, they went to the other one and I went to this. Like it just depended where you lived.
Right.
And like I went to the one that had a lot of, so like I lived in a city, and most of the inner city kids, they went to the other one. And I went to the one that had all the like rich kids.
Yeah.
Let's say more of the rich kids, like driving Beamers and Mercedes and stuff to school. And I'm like,
trust fund babies.
And I got like this 92 Ford Taurus in 2000. Right. Yeah. So it was a lot different. And it was just like out of your element kind of thing. It was the same school my mom went to. So it wasn't like it was a big surprise I went there, but it still was just like getting used to like a whole new group of people. And then again, introverted, because like I went from a Catholic like grade school / junior high where we had like 30 kids in our class, and that was it. And then went to like high school, it was like 100, 120, wow, something like that in each class. Yeah, so it was small schools. And then I went to like Penn State, which was, I didn't go to Maine. I went to like a satellite, because they had like in Pennsylvania, they have like 26 Penn State campuses.
Sheesh.
Because Penn State is a huge network so they have like one in like most of the main like counties and the big counties. So I went to one like in my hometown. So it was easy to go there. So like it's just funny how like people can change over time, and it's not just the face and the weight, and I can't point to my belly because it's not on camera. But it's like I always like whenever I post on Instagram, it's always like here, right? Because so much of it is just like your mentality for everything you do. Because like you have to be mindful of your diet. You have to be mindful. I know people hate the word diet. You have to be mindful of like everything you're doing. Because like sometimes, like I've caught myself a few times where like I just like destroyed a box of Wheat Thins or something because I just got them and I went back into like the old mode of let me just have this box and not have it over on the counter so I can't.
I know the struggle. I know.
Yeah. So it's interesting, like just hearing all the different viewpoints of people, because everybody has like their own version of that, right? Like I don't know what your favorite thing was, like if you're a chips guy, pretzels. Like what was your go-to snack of choice?
Wheats, really. Like it would be from like anything from like Oreos to like even the soft chewy like Chips Ahoy. Oh, yeah, give me like a handful of those and some peanut butter, and I'm going to town. And then like 2 hours later, I'm like, oh my god, I hate my life. What have I done? But yeah, like the sweets and the fast food, really like that. I could eat McDonald's 3 times a day like it was nothing.
Yeah, I used to like mine was for the longest time was Arby's, because I could do like, because when they had like that big, they had the huge roast beef sandwiches, and then they had like I would always get like a large shake, which was like this big, like the size of your head.
Yeah.
And it's just like pure ice cream. And I was like, it was like heaven, but I think it was like 1,400 calories for a shake.
Yeah. Oh man.
Let alone the sandwich, the multiple sandwiches and the curly fries.
And then like a shake isn't enough. Like that's not enough to wash down what I'm consuming. So like I'm gonna need a Coke or a Dr. Pepper. Dr. Pepper was my jam. I can't lie. Like Dr. P that's my stuff right there.
Yeah. Yeah. My God. And I remember when I worked in the movie theater, we actually had a knockoff Dr. Pepper. It was like called like
An extra.
no, it was was it Mr. Pibb?
Mm-hmm.
It was like their version of Dr. Pepper, and it was absolute crap.
Yeah, it's
like it was not even close. Was it Mr. Pibb? I can't remember. It was some weird ass Dr. Pepper knockoff, and I was like, yeah, this is not Dr. Pepper.
This only has 22 flavors. There's a flavor missing.
There's a flavor missing. Yeah, I know. Man. So, going back to the health questions, I was curious. Like, usually, like we all have goals for the year. So I was curious, like, what your, let's say, goal for any like weight loss, or if you like, I know you're doing the Murph on Memorial Day.
Yeah.
Which you're loving that you're doing that with your 20-pound vest.
Man, so like the first week it was only 12 pounds and I was so butthurt, like super butthurt. Like Amazon lied. I don't know if it was Amazon that screwed up, if they didn't do their background research into the description that Cat Barbell placed on there, but they said that each sandbag was 2.5 pounds and they were only 1 pound. And that that's what I get for not verifying and doing my own research.
So did somebody like put your vest on a scale?
I did.
Oh, you did.
I did. After wearing it for the first week, I was like, you know what? Like, I wonder. It says 2.5 pounds, but let me see. And I put it on the scale. I was like, what? This math does not add up. Like, how are you getting this? This can't be right. This is not. Why is this 12 pounds? This isn't working. And then I put all the other ones on there, and it was 20.2. And I was like, what? What happened? Who dropped the ball here? Because I've been talking shit like, yeah, I'm wearing my vest to the gym. Like, watch me do work. And sure enough, I was 8 pounds short.
And yeah, I saw your video today of the. Tell me. So anyway, so did you have any like other goals other than the Murph? This year coming up.
Yeah. So this year, you talking about just strictly weight loss? Because
it can be anything.
Okay, well, weight loss goals. I started taking my health or my diet and exercise serious October 10th of last year. So by that 1 year mark, I'd like to hit 220 pounds, and right now I'm at 257 and change. So I'd like to hit goal weight, and I think that's more than enough time. Another 5 months now to lose 30 pounds. I think that's doable. We'll see, but that's the main goal as far as health is concerned. But related to that, I have my first obstacle course race coming up at the end of October. So that's why I'm really trying to, focus on the weight loss to make the grip work a lot easier, especially swinging on the monkey bars and whatnot.
Awesome.
So I'd like to get a documentary. I'd like to do capture some footage and create like a little mini mockumentary between now and then. So we'll see how it goes.
A mockumentary.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. So I know you say you have 37 to go, and you only in 5 months ish, say. Mm-hmm. So have you, like, so far in your journey, have you had like many plateaus yet?
I've hit,
because I know you said that you've gone back and forth, but have you had like a plateau of a few weeks where it just didn't like the scale didn't move
that's
the way you wanted while you were on your planned of nutrition?
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm at now. Like the last, I'd say 3 weeks I haven't gone back over 260, which is good, but I've gotten as low as 257.2. And it's like, man, I'm so close to like my lowest recorded adult weight. Like I got to get there. And it just keeps going back and forth like this. And I feel like I know what it is. Like I stopped drinking as much water as I used to. And I'm also like pushing myself a lot more. So I feel like part of it might be some muscle growth. who knows? Maybe I'm just tooting my own horn because I've been wearing a 12-pound vest for a week, but the struggle is real. But like right now, it's probably been my longest plateau because I've been at this weight, at least between this range for a few weeks now. But that doesn't mean that I'm not seeing victories outside of the scale. Like I just bought a pair of large shorts, like no X's, none. I got a pair. They're sitting over there too. I just got a pair and I was fucking excited, but I didn't share it on social media because I was like, you know what? Like I'm gonna keep this one to myself.
Yeah, that's how I felt when I went into Kohl's. So it's a 2X, but I was like, I don't know, the last fucking time I wore a 2X anything, and I was just like, damn, because I bought a bunch of 2X shorts, and I was like, this isn't normal. So I've had a few plateaus myself, and they get really the one that got really frustrating was like a 3 or 4 month one, where I was like cruising. I hit like 200 pounds lost, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna hit 250 lost by December. This was August, and December came, and I was at 200 still. It was partially because it was also like holidays and birthdays and fall, and I'm like, I don't feel like walking as much. I don't feel like exercising. That wasn't all of it. It was also I was putting it in my mouth. Yeah. And also not the water. I think I wasn't keeping up with the water because once the fall hit, I always have. I mean, I know you're in Florida. Here in Maryland, it gets cold, and when it gets cold, I don't need to drink as much water to stay hydrated from walking and all that. So I was like, I'll drink like a half a gallon instead of a whole gallon.
You guys have actual seasons. We've got summer and summer light. Like that's it.
I mean, today was like summer because it was like 85 degrees, which is like I know you guys can get that in like February.
Yeah, we'll hit 85 at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah. So like the plateaus can get serious. I mean, I know people get super depressed over the plateaus because I know the feeling too, because it gets like you look at the scale and you're like, what the hell?
Aren't you moving?
But then you put on like clothes that don't fit before, right? Or like this shirt I'm wearing now was tight in January. And in January, I've lost like 40 pounds, so that helps. But yeah. But like when you see those like changes, especially like when it doesn't move, but you like go to the gym and you're gaining muscle.
Yeah.
You're getting better, you're getting stronger. Yeah. And you don't necessarily have to like lift heavy. You can just do cardio and you can feel it change. But then there are times where you're just like, God damn, I just want to like see a 2 at the front of the scale, or I want to see like a certain number. Right. I remember the one that was a real mindfuck for me was when I hit my plateau, because I hit like I was at 400.4, and then I had plateaued, and then I like went back up to like 415, and then I was on vacation, and then I came back, and then within like 2 weeks I hit like 399, and I was like, holy fuck, finally. Like, because it took me like for like 4 months of just like constant frustration of seeing a 4 at the front of the scale.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's just like when you've had these plateaus, have you gotten like that level of frustration? I won't say depression, like frustration with it, where you're just like, come on, man. Right.
Come home, man. It's definitely more frustration than anything. I've gotten a lot better with my mental health to not let myself slip and talk negatively about my efforts. You know what I mean? Because like I oftentimes I'll reach out to people in the community just to vent, and they'll remind me that like that doesn't negate your effort. You know what I mean? Like while the number may not change, your body composition is. And try on clothes that, like you said, that didn't fit a couple months ago, or whatever the case may be, and you'll get your validation in other ways other than what that number on the scale is. So the first time I hit a plateau was I want to say in February of this year, and that's when we had just started the New Year New You challenge, and that's when I had switched from doing Noom to counting macros. And when I was doing Noom, I was limited to like 1,800 calories. And then it shot up during this challenge to 3,000 calories, but very, different macros. And the food that I was eating was different, so like I felt like that halted my process, because I was averaging about 10 pounds a month when I was on Noom. Mm-hmm. to see that numbers come to a screeching halt and go down to like 2 pounds a month, I'm like, wait a minute, like dude, I didn't sign up for this. But like again, like my coach always tells me, like, you have to trust the process. And while you were doing Noom and you were getting results, you weren't fueling your body for the kinds of intense workouts that you're getting in. So like increasing the amount of protein I was taking in, I feel like showed differently in my body composition. So while I wasn't losing weight, the fat that I was losing was, I guess, in essence, being replaced by muscle. I don't know for sure, but like I know that my body was coming in this way, even though the number on the scale was staying the same. So
yeah, and that's always good to see. It's always the non-scale stuff that helps, because bridge the gaps between all those goddamn plateaus.
Yeah.
Yeah. So something I like to do with each guest is to learn about something that they are into other than weight loss, because so many times you hear all about the weight loss story and you're like, what else do I know about this person besides that?
Right.
So I wanted to, I don't know what it is because we didn't talk about it. So go ahead, you can tell me, and then I might ask you some questions about it.
Right on. One thing that I think helped keep me sane, not only during the pandemic, but like throughout my life, was my love for creativity and creation in general. I have sharpened my tool set or my skill set in music creation. And I was a songwriter for an artist in Australia a few years ago. And, I made some decent money doing that, but like music is my thing. And I'm not sure if you're aware, but like I made the intro music for the ALG podcast. So that's on that was mine. So I'm thankful for that opportunity, but having that sense of creativity grounds me and keeps me centered. So while music is the one that has paid some bills, it wasn't enough to pay all of them. but just being a content creator has kept me grounded and kept me I want to say outside of my head, but in reality it was still inside my head. But I wasn't, it wasn't negative thoughts that were festering. You know what I mean? So like creation in general, from painting, writing, creating stupid TikTok skits, all of the above, being creative in general. So branding content for the Gut Muscle account, now doing the podcast, it's whatever I can get my hands on that I can take from inside this big fat noggin and bring it out into this manifested here in the physical world is that's my jam.
Yeah. And so, I mean, I knew you did the ALG intro because I heard it before it went live. I have connections.
Look like it. I bet.
And so just because you mentioned music a bit, like what are some of your like favorite artists that you like in music?
Oh, wow. Okay. So I guess the easiest way to answer that is to, I guess, give a little bit of back history. So my mom used to be the manager at Camelot Music before it was like Specs and whatever else it was named after. But my mom used to come home with like store demo tapes, like clean versions of like everything from like Aerosmith to Madonna to
wow,
Third Eye Blind. Yeah, like everything.
Third Eye Blind. Wow.
Everything. You know what I mean? So like Mariah Carey, Bone Thugs and Harmony, like you name it. Like I got introduced to all this wild off the wall music growing up. So my taste in music is wide ranging. However, the majority of my influence musically, I fall more into the hip hop and R&B era, but some of the artists that I listen to regularly, like I was listening to Green Day on the way to work the other day, their American Idiot album.
Yeah.
That was good. But yeah, like a lot of things, from the more popular artists like Drake and Meek Mill and Big Sean and, to Busta Rhymes and a bunch of people, Eminem, Jay-Z. I listen to it all.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I was curious. I was surprised when you mentioned Third Eye Blind because I don't hear that name very often. I still have some Third Eye Blind on my Spotify playlist in my car. They were like one of the first CDs I bought when I was in like 8th grade or something.
I want to touch back on that because I should have. So if you guys don't know, I am gay, and I should have known I was gay when my first CD I'd ever bought was Alanis Morissette's "Jagged Little Pill." Yeah, I'll own that. I'll take that L on the chin. That's fine.
I mean, it was very popular. So it's not that bad. I mean, I own Britney Spears CDs too. So
Oh, see, I guess that's the difference. I'm not that into Britney Spears.
no. I mean, this is before she was a train wreck. This is like peak Britney Spears.
Leave Britney alone.
It's way before that. I remember watching that video on repeat. It was like a MySpace video. Yeah. I remember watching that. Like I just watched it over and I'm like, I cannot believe this guy's for real.
Yeah, that was funny. That was
yeah. The so I'm much more of like a movie guy than a music, but like every night when I hear a song like I like it, I'll save it in my playlist. I didn't use Spotify for the longest time, but the one I can't get, I don't know. I try and I cannot get into it. And it's like one of those things when you don't like something that everyone else likes.
Yeah.
Like I don't like avocados at all. Yeah.
I mean,
and I don't like coffee. And I don't like the taste ever since I was a kid. I tried telling my dad's like probably right after he was at your house. and yeah, and I was like, ugh. But I don't like Drake. I try to listen to some of his stuff. Like I was listening to the Start at the Bottom song today, and I was like,
I can't get into this.
I can't get into this at all. Like, and because people like add it to like videos, and I'm like, that sounds all right. And then I listen to like the actual song, and I'm like, man, I don't like this.
I mean, that's definitely not. I wouldn't put that as like you got to listen to this Drake song. That's not one of my go-tos when I tell people I listen to Drake. But, I mean, that's fair. I mean, like,
yeah. It's just an interesting thing because it's like you like who you like, right? Mm-hmm. Like I used to like Eminem a lot, like in the early 2000s, and then he did a lot of shitty songs.
Yeah.
Then he comes back with one. He comes back with like one good one, and then like 4 bad ones. He's never gonna listen to this podcast, so it doesn't matter what I say about him.
That's fine. I mean, it's Eminem, like whatever.
Yeah, I mean he's got like $1 billion or whatever, right? So I don't think he'll care either.
Even if he does come for Brett, it's like that's free publicity. Fuck Eminem. My name's making changes.
Yeah, fuck him, right? Fuck him. But yeah, like I remember, and like I don't know what it is. Like today, I don't see it as much either. Like I used to love in the, let's say 90s and 2000s, was they used to have like a lot of like mashups or like stars, usually award shows and shit like that, right? Where you have like people that don't mix, like singing songs together. Like I remember like when Eminem and Elton John sang "Stan" like at the Grammys and stuff like that. Like I'm just thinking like stuff like that, and I'm like, where's that? Like so much. It's like where's that kind of stuff? Because
And Jay-Z and Linkin Park did their
like they had that whole album, right? And like that's you're like, how are they ever gonna have Jay-Z singing like "To Numb"?
Mm-hmm.
Right?
They made it work.
Made it work. And yeah, it was so good. And I mean, and now it's just like everything's again in a vacuum. So like you don't intersect. It's kind of like I feel like it started when Kanye interrupted Taylor Swift.
Yeah, that was
cringe.
Big time. You know what? And like I know a lot of people don't like Kanye, but musically, like he just there's something about his music, and I think it's because of the parallels that he and I had when he came out. And when he first released the college dropout, you mean like I had just dropped out of college at the same time, and then when he came and released like Late Registration, I was going back to school. You mean so like there was a lot of parallels, and I have a lot of memories tied to music. And it's weird. Like there's like different time periods that are like if I were to create like a soundtrack of my life, it would be the dopest soundtrack ever. You know what I mean? Just because like there's a lot of different songs that play a large part in my development as a human being. And Kanye it was in a pivotal time frame for me. And I'll always have love for Kanye, regardless of the crazy antics. And like I can look past that shit because it's like, that's not my Kanye, but like when he's doing music, yeah, I can fuck with Kanye.
Yeah, definitely. And like it's kind of like one of those things where I don't go to like Home Depot expecting to go like buy my groceries, right? Like, right. There are things that I don't care what Kanye says about or any artist says about like anything political, anything like important. Like you're here for entertainment,
Right.
Like, you're not here for serious talk. I mean, I'll give people like, even though like I hate the Kardashians, like what Kim Kardashian did with trying to do with reforms with prison systems,
yeah, absolutely.
like that's amazing. But and that's one of the few like exceptions to the rule of celebrities being stupid, like of being like, oh, this is an important issue.
Mhm.
Like, I remember there was a meme last week that said like Gwyneth Paltrow survived the pandemic and actually ate bread or whatever. I remember I saw it. I don't even know if it was real, but I was just like, it's stuff like that. Like, you come off so elitist and so like you don't live in the real world.
She released a candle that smells like her vagina. Like, how bizarre.
She's all kinds of crazy.
Yeah, that's another one.
Yeah. But yeah, so it's such a strange tangent we went down here.
Yeah, it's interesting. Use that as the clip. You know what I mean, for your teaser, like she released a candle.
Yeah, I'll add your face in there with a vagina, with a Gwyneth candle, whatever it's called. I don't even know. So all right. Wrapping up here a little bit. I like to ask 5 questions at the end. I called Brett's Corner. So they're kind of all over the place. So first one is there a movie, TV show, or event, can be a physical event too, that you're looking forward to the most in the coming year?
There's 2 of them. One entertainment based and one physical related. The first one is the physical one is the OCR that I'm doing, the Goliath Gauntlet, because it's my first obstacle course race ever. It's for a good charity, the Sheridan House, and I'm really looking forward to that and really trying to get prepared for that. But the next thing is Tom Segura, the comedian, is coming to my city for his I'm Coming Everywhere tour, and I'm so looking forward to that because I haven't been to a comedy show in a very long time, and he's hilarious.
Yeah, and hopefully everything will stay open by then, right?
I didn't want to put that out into the world, like I didn't want to put that energy out there, but yes, hopefully.
Yeah. I know you're in Florida, so they're already like fully open, everything.
Man, listen, Florida is different, bro. Like Florida, I don't even think that Florida really even closed to begin with.
I will say I was in Key West in January, and it was very strict there. Like, they had cops on the street telling people to get their masks on.
Key West is
also a different place. Like,
Key West is not Florida. Like,
US is not Florida. Is Jacksonville also not Florida?
Also, like anything north of Orlando, like there's two Floridas. There's North Florida, there's South Florida, and then there's the Keys. So like there's 3 different sections.
Yeah. So I was in Miami, and I noticed that Miami was a little different than the Keys when I was there.
Yeah.
And then went to the Keys. Probation. Yeah, that's when I met up Poro.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So question number 2. What are 2 non-health related goals for the next year?
First one is to try and land some freelance social media content creation gigs. I'm trying to supplement my income, and it's like, if I'm already branding for free, why not try and get paid for it? So that's plan number 1. And then number 2 is to get a solid foundation for this mockumentary that I was talking about earlier. You know what I mean? Like, let me try and lay that out and kind of tailor some kind of formulate a plan to get to that point.
Cool, man. Yeah, I can definitely see you getting there with the mockumentary, especially after watching your TikToks that I've seen.
Nice.
They make me laugh. They are good. So question 3, if someone came to you saying they were lacking motivation or inspiration, or take your pick of the word, to stay consistent with their nutrition, their workouts, whatever, what are 3 pieces of advice you would give them?
Okay. The first piece of advice I could give them would be read David Goggins' book, Can't Hurt Me. And I know that may seem cliche, and some people may not care for that guy in particular, but to me, his audiobook was gifted to me by my coach, and it was life-changing for me. You know what I mean? Like, it made me realize that I'm capable of so much more, and taking back your own mental strength is huge, and it's honestly necessary if there are goals that you want to achieve. So that would be the first thing. Take a look at that book and really absorb everything that he has to offer, because he's definitely dropping jewels. Number 2 would be to remind this person that one bad day doesn't send you back to square one. It's not, don't pass go, do not collect $200. A backslide is a backslide, but you use that to spring forward. Often we will get caught up in our own heads when we start backsliding. And I saw a post, I want to say a couple of days ago, that was like, regarding people saying like, I fucked up Friday night, but I'll get back on the train on Monday.
Mm-hmm.
And then that mindset fucking them over on Saturday and on Sunday. And then by Monday, they've kind of stumbled too far back. So really focusing, like if you mess up today, jump back on the train tomorrow. Don't make excuses for instance. I'll start. I don't know why Monday is like the magic day for everybody. Like, I'll start Monday. And then my last one would be to remind them, like, nobody can make this happen for you. Like, at the end of the day, like, if you're struggling to find motivation, you got to figure that shit out. Like nobody else can want this for you more than you, and you have to be the number one person. This is a lifelong commitment. This isn't a one and done. This is a complete lifestyle. So if you're struggling to find motivation to stay on track, you just got to remind yourself that you deserve it.
Definitely. Yeah. One of my things that I used to say in my posts a lot on Instagram was like, find motivation in your everyday. Because like so many people come to me like, I don't have the motivation or the drive that you do. And I'm like, you think it just came out of nowhere? Like,
right.
I mean, I don't want to go walk every day. Like I want to just like sit at home and watch the Avengers or whatever. Right.
All the way with that.
Yeah. All right. So question 4, what have you discovered about yourself during your journey or transformation that surprised you the most?
It kind of ties into my last answer with I think that I deserve this. Like, that's probably my biggest realization, that I deserve all of this. I deserve to treat myself as good as possible. Seeing another post that said that like your comfort zone will kill you. I can buy nice clothes and fancy things and whatnot, but at the end of the day, I wear my body every day. So while I may spend money on the newest iPhone or go and get, a new pair of sneakers or whatever the case may be, that all has like an expiration date. And so does my body. So I need to focus on my body getting the same treatment that all the other expensive things in my life, because I deserve it.
Definitely do. All right. Last question. If in 150 years science fails to save us and all that is left is a book about your life, what would the title be? And what would the blurb tell us about Anthony?
Okay, so I would say that the title would be Changes Made Changes. As you guys know, my name is Anthony Changes. And the blurb would say that change isn't easy, but it is worth it, and it's never too late to start making some.
Awesome. Love it.
Mic drop.
Mic drop. Well, Anthony, I'm glad you could come on the podcast today. If anyone wants to reach out to you on social media, where could they find you?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. They can find me like if you're looking to see my health and fitness related stuff, you can find me at Gut Muscle CEO. And then my personal Instagram is at Anthony Changes. And like all of my social media is at Anthony Changes. If you're looking for some of my music, you can find it under that name too. But
awesome. And we'll put that in the show notes, and everybody can DM you all about everything you love or hate or both.
Come get right. Just listen. If you don't know anything about me, one thing is I will always tell the truth, and I'm going to give you my honest opinion. Always. Always.
Definitely. All right. Well, that'll wrap it up from here, and we'll see everybody next time.